Yeah, my name is Tor. I'm the game director on HITMAN Absolution. Yeah, well, with this new Hitman game, we wanted to. We were looking at all the old games that we made and the legacy that we have, and basically taking apart every single game mechanic and putting it back together to create a more a more dynamic experience, a more modern game than the old games. Previously, Hitman games have been notoriously hard and punishing for the players, only allowing the most hardcore players to enjoy them. And we wanted to make it a more open experience where the game wouldn't punish the players as hard as the old games. Also, we built an entirely new technology for this game, especially centered around the AI and the rendering and the audio part of the game, which is very central to us. We wanted a very cinematic experience, and combined with the very open nature of the game, where it's basically the player's choice whatever is happening. Then we needed a very flexible system from the engine to support being cinematic in any kind of circumstance. Yeah, basically when we started out this game, we found out that the in-house technology that we had was running very old, and we either needed to license something or build something by ourselves. And since IO Interactive is very much based on technology in-house, the old games was very renowned for their innovative technology. So we decided that since there wasn't anything on the market that we can use directly, we would rather build our own technology and tailor-make it for this game. So the AI that we have is very, very advanced, more than anything we've done in the past. And also on the rendering side, to be able to live up to the art direction that was made, then we built our own renderer as well. Yeah, we're going for a darker and more kind of dense style than before. It's still kind of a humorous game in many ways, but every location is very, very dense with detail. And since it's a game that is about exploring and there's a lot of stealth and slow-paced gameplay, a lot of voyeurism for the player, then we needed to build locations that were extremely rich on detail to be able to have enough detail for the players to stick around for a long time and to explore the environments and the characters within them. Yeah, well, he is still traveling around a lot, and he's going through a lot of diverse environments and levels. And we've spent a lot of time trying to make every level unique in its own way and very easy for the players to talk about. Because one thing that is very important to our community is that people really like to kind of brag and retell stories for how they played through this game, since there's so much choice for them. So we've been spending a lot of time trying to make every location somehow unique, so that it's very easy for them to retell from whatever area of the game that they've been playing. Well, it's a far more personal story this time around than anything we've done. It's very much centered around 1847, and he's going through a very difficult time in his life where he's having to make some very hard choices that affect the storyline. And what we've also done is that we spent time on, building the entire art direction and soundscapes around his journey throughout this game, around his kind of development, so that the game will be very much affected on which kind of state the 47 is in. Yeah, basically the level we're showing at E3 is based in a very kind of dark and rainy Chicago, where 47 is on the run. There's this big manhunt for him, and we allowed ourselves these kind of force majeure moments in this game where the player will have to kind of improvise and be on the run from someone, being the police or someone else, rather than in the previous games where you would always start out kind of in a safe spot and kind of make your own move. This is something that has enabled us to create a more dynamic experience for the player, and at some parts of the game kind of take control a little bit more than we did in the past, but also giving the player a more interesting story, a more interesting experience throughout the game. Yeah, I mean, for HITMAN Absolution, creating a very cinematic world was very central to us, and the main story of the game has a rather large cast of important characters, and the script is very dramatic. It's based on kind of human drama rather than just action. So we also needed a cast that could live up to that kind of drama. So we were very fortunate that we got the budget to go and make ourselves a really good Hollywood cast, where we did the performance capture with quite a lot of great actors to support our main storyline. And on top of that, we have within every single level there's all these little subplots with a lot of different kind of unimportant characters to the main story, but for the exploring player and the kind of voyeuristic player, there is, I think, about 15 hours of extra little content of dialogues and situations that they can experience throughout the game. Two of the most important actors that we have in HITMAN Absolution is Diana, who's played by Marsha Thomason, and Blake Dexter, the main villain of the game, which is played by Keith Carradine. And these are some of the very important roles within the game, and we're very fortunate that we got this great cast for them, because it's really added a lot to the game and to the storyline. Yeah, when it comes to performance capture, it's something that is new to us. In the past, we would do separate mocap and we'd do separate voices, and we kind of combine them within our tools at home. But now, again, we also got the budget to do this performance capture that we did in Giant Studios here in LA, which is the same place that James Cameron did some of his Avatar stuff. And it's greatly enhanced the looks and the feel of everything, because doing things separately, it just takes the performance very much out of things. For us, building up the game from the game design perspective and the AI, we spent a lot of time to build a more entertaining AI it's more like a theatrical AI. Instead of what we had in the old games, was that we had the entire levels running with the AI setup, that the NPCs would be walking around minding their own business, and then you as a player would come and interrupt them, and they would kind of go into some action or whatever, they will react to you. Now the system is far more based on trying to entertain the player as he plays his way through the game. So if the player is playing stealthily, the AI will also accommodate that. They will be doing a lot more acts, they will be more interesting in their kind of ambient state. While if the player chooses to play in an action way, we built this new kind of flexible combat AI that will make a good fight for the player from whatever direction or time that he chooses to attack them. And the AI will be able to position themselves throughout the game world and ramp up the action if the player chooses to kind of go on playing in an action way, or if they retreat and try to hide, the NPCs will kind of fall into their more ambient state again. Unless you've killed many of their friends, then they will still kind of be hunting in these kind of hunting parties for the player. But it's very important for us that the cinematic part, you can say, or the dramatic Hollywood part of the AI is always trying to keep up with whatever the player is trying to do, and giving him a good experience. Because we're making games, it's all about entertaining the player in every way that the player would want to be entertained.